Now we're going to take the clamps off. The back is dried in place. And then we will be putting the stick in the holder again and trimming the back to fit the sides. And then we will start on more of the finishing. So that's off. And for the time being, we're finished with the jig, so we'll take it out of the jig, which again is a matter of loosening each of the tightening screws and just slipping it out. And the jig was made to allow that to happen. And now we'll be clamping it into position to cut the back. And I'll put a little bit of a brace on the machine just to keep it solid while we make the cut. Once again, we'll take the coping saw and bring it down and start the cut. Coping saw angle of the blade to the frame can be adjusted very easily to give you clearance to let the saw do its thing. And we can change the angle again of the blade to give clearance. And we'll just continue to position, and I think we'll start at the other side now. And once again with the coping saw. And once again just changing the angle slightly to keep the frame out of the way. Readjustment, and once again I'm using a little piece of plywood to back and to give a little bit of strength while I'm doing the sawing. And again the coping saw. Okay, and once the coping saw is done, then we can either take a small plane and go over the first bit, or the alternative is to take a rasp and take it down fairly quickly with a coarse rasp. When we're rasping, we always try to keep the rasp going so that the force is pushing the bottom into the sides, not going this way, but always going into the sides. With the rasping, we're trying to get it down to a stage where it's relatively easy to finish with the sanding. Just about got that, and again we'll reposition as necessary and continue to rasp the edge and bring it down tight. And with such a coarse rasp, it actually cuts very quickly. And we'll be doing both sides, so we're just going to turn it over. Once again, trying to rasp it in the direction of the sides so that it doesn't put too much force on the joint itself. Now, Now we've got a basic shape of the instrument. We can do a little smoothing, and we'll be working more with the sandpaper in a minute or with a finer rasp. The coarse rasp is very quick at doing it, but of course it is coarse, so you risk cutting into the sides if you're not careful. And it's important to remember that you have a lot of time to do this. You don't have to do it very extremely quickly. I'm going to line up the bottom particularly because we're going to be trimming that little piece of spacer in the bottom in just a second. So I'm going to line that up. To line that up, get rid of the wood close to it to give me the angle. And then on the other side I'm going to do the same. And we can, once again, we can take and use other instruments. This is a finer rasp. And there's many instruments that could be used to do this. It could be done with a plane, a sharp plane, with a spoke shave, a more or less fixed plane, or with a rasp, or with a file, or with sandpaper, which just takes a little bit longer. So I'm just taking and running a ruler along the side to show where the angle at the top will be, and I'll just write that with a little bit of lead and show you what we've done there. So there's just a little mark along there. So this will be used to cut through the top and through that marker spare block that we put in as to occupy the extra space. To do this, I'll just use a small back saw and just relatively slowly cut down, cutting through first the top and then the marker block. And I'm going to do that on both sides, to come from this side. And once again, just try to get down just to the wood, and then I'm going to bring a fine blade and cut that off with a one-sided blade. So now I'm going to take a very fine saw and go beneath that and cut down without cutting the stick very much, and cut off these extra pieces that we've done. And there's one, and we'll cut the other side here from this side. And the net result is a very sharp angle where the spacer was, and it all fits together.